Welcome on in, everyone. It's our second edition of the They Not From Philly podcast, and it's been a great week. We've had some great feedback from everyone. We've had, new people following. We've had more listeners and more subscribers, and me and Justin, we just really appreciate your support so far. We've had a couple of mentions from some Philly sports talk greats that are around at the moment, so that's been really nice as well. So we're getting some good feedback, and you know, phew, Justin, we got a game to talk about from last week. That game had everything. There's so much to talk about. I don't know where to start. So I think, let's just start with the Jags. So just, how we doing, fella? How's your week been?
What's happening, fella? I've had a pretty good week. It's better than a loss, but it was still very frustrating. But it's been a good week. Had some real pretty weather here. Just ready to move on to Dallas. It's Dallas sucks week. It's been Dallas
Oh, yeah.
sucks week, and ready to move on. And hopefully we'll have happier results after a win. We won't be as frustrated after a win.
Yeah, I hate these wins that, we had a lot of these type of wins last year, didn't we, in the 23 season, where they were just scraping by and sort of everyone was just like, okay, a win's a win. And then obviously the collapse came later on. And then we all sort of, woke up then and realized, yeah, the issues that were at hand. And, but I wouldn't compare that game to quite like that, like those games last season. Obviously, the game last week, the Jags, we were 22-0, we were really up on them. Everything was going great. Yeah, the offense, it was stuttering a bit in the second quarter. The first quarter, they seemed to, have a good rhythm going. They scored in the first quarter, can we believe that? It finally happened. It was like, where do we hang the banner? So, that was great. Jalen was in control. He was in control the whole game, to be honest. Saquon had where do we start with Saquon Barkley? Good grief.
Crazy.
That's the thing. There's so much to talk about in this game. So let's just, let's start from the beginning. They scored in the first quarter. Everything was going great. We were 22-0 up on the Jags, and then offense started sputtering a bit. But you still felt like the Jags, they weren't going to come back. We were getting stops on defense. Cooper DeJean was just amazing again. The defensive line was putting the pressure on. We got some sacks here and there. And, everything was ticking along. And then, the second half, then it was like, oh, like, here we go. It all started with that terrible call from the refs. Saquon, he was down by contact. They looked at it, and it was, I don't understand how that wasn't overturned. It was clear as day. But there we are. The refs, unfortunately, the last few years, they've been making some bad decisions in a lot of games, not just our games. It's been all over the league. And I think, everyone, all the media, are pointing it out every week that it's an ongoing problem that, needs to get resolved down the line. So, that happened. The Jags scored, but they didn't seem ruffled much by it. What I like about Jalen is he's all about, next play, let's get back to it. And they got back to it, and they continued to dominate the game. And then, Saquon with the leap that was seen around the world was just, it was just phenomenal, that thing. But then, yeah.
It's one of the most impressive athletic things I've ever seen somebody do. Even if he hadn't have, hurdled the guy backwards, the spin move that he hit the guy with right before that, we'd have been talking about that all week. That spin move where he just dug in and bent, spun it around. That was Barry Sanders like. But then he topped it off with the backwards hurdle leap, and that's all everybody's been talking about. It's one of the craziest athletic things I've ever seen anybody do.
Yeah, I did get a little bit worried afterwards. He took the hit after he landed.
Yeah.
And then, he went off to the sideline. You could see him stretching, and he looked like he was in a little bit of pain, but it wasn't too concerning, but it was a little bit concerning at the same time. You were like, and he didn't come back in the game, for a bit then, which I suppose is, they want to be careful, and obviously, so that's the only thing with Saquon is as good as he is, he's got that injury history, and so it's always a little bit concerning. So, that happens, and then obviously Jalen makes those two huge throws to Devontae. I mean, my
Yep.
God, that was the thing in this game. It was like highlight after highlight in between all the chaos, and it was just, that grab that Devontae made, to pull it in with the one hand, and then to
Yeah.
have the, like you said, the athletic ability, and obviously for his brain to be working at the same time, to know that he's got to get both of those feet down on the right angle on the turf to, like he's known for that. His toe tapping ability is he's shown that even in his rookie year. He made some catches and he got both feet in, and it was just like, how did he do it? So yeah, that game, it was an amazing game, and then obviously, the Jags get the ball back, and it's what was it? Just after the 2 minute warning, they were just marching down the field, and it was just like, you know, and then the Kobe makes that, my God, that saved the game interception, which was just
Yep.
like, me and you were going back and forth, and we were like, what the hell, what's going on? They're gonna give the game away. And then I messaged you like, what do we say with them Georgia Bulldogs? And they all stepped up in that. I think all of them had a good game. I looked on the stat sheet, and they all had tackles, and they all caused problems. But obviously, the linebackers in that game stood out. Zach Horn and Kobe were just flying around the field the whole game. They both made game-changing interceptions. Obviously, Kobe's at the end, and it was a great way to end the game, but it was another stressful way to end the game. And that's why, like you said, a win as good as that win was, it sort of felt a bit bittersweet as well.
Yeah. Most definitely. I guess going back, I mean, my first complaint, I guess, of the game was when he went for two, when it was 16-0. There's not a lot of difference between 18 and 17 at that point. If it's 17, it's still three scores, two touchdowns and a field
Mm.
goal. If it's
Yeah,
18, I'm sorry, you take the points. I didn't agree with it. I'm not going to agree with it because I could see it if it's 19 and you want to make it 21. I could see, I don't know, I could kind of justify that in a way because that's three touchdowns. But this, I mean, it, it made no sense. And going back to what you said as far as the aggressiveness, I think like from what I've heard all week on WIP, the reason
mm.
why there's not a lot of pushback, I think it's an organizational philosophy. Like
Yeah,
I think they're like the analytics people are getting in his ear like, hey, we go for two right here. I don't get it. I'm an old school football guy. I understand, that's what helped win us a Super Bowl in 2017, and the aggressiveness is what got us there in 22. But it's a regular season game against the Jaguars, a team that hasn't done anything all season. They've been atrocious all year, and I'm sorry, against a team like that, you just take the points where you can get them because they're not a threat unless you let them become a threat. And we let them become a threat. And also, like you said, I'm not a big boo the officials guy, but that play where Barkley fumbled and they scooped it up and ran it in, that gave those guys life. Like they were like, hey, we're in this thing because
yeah,
they got 16 points like real quick. They had their own touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and they got that one in a 2-point conversion. They were back in it like quick as a hiccup. And I just all those decisions like Sirianni, but yeah, my number one gripe to start off was passing on that first extra point. You already tried to draw them off to get to, and they didn't do it. You burnt your timeout, so then you kick it and you get the penalty, and then it's like let's go back out, kick it, man. You've got the point on the board, and we know Jake's not perfect. He's missed extra points at times, and you made it. It's a point on the board. I'm sorry, you keep it there. But
yeah.
we,
That's like what I said to you. Jake, when they brought him on to make that, was it like 57 yards, 51 yarder kick, something like that. They brought him on. He hasn't more or less hadn't really kicked all game. He should
no,
never been. That's the second time he's been put in that position, and it's the second time he's missed. And that's not his fault. You know what I mean? You've obviously yeah, he's going to be all game working off to the side, practicing his kicks into that little net and stuff. But it's not the same as being able to do live kicks in the game. And he should
Yeah.
never be put in that position in the first place. That's why I've got like Nick as the background up for me this week, because he's, as great as that game was, and it was a great win, but Nick has like taken the spotlight again because of his inability to recognise that he's being too aggressive. And I could, when I hear him speak, I could sort of see, I can understand his point of view, because he's saying that the guys are behind him with it, and they're encouraging him to be this way. And when I watched when they forced the locker room celebrations afterwards, and you get like a 30-second clip of like Nick doing a speech, giving out the game balls, and I see like Jeffrey and Howie there, and he's just like he's more like praising himself for being so aggressive. And like you said, there seems to be an organizational thing where that's what they want. This is just keep being aggressive. But you've got to pick and choose your moments. Like in the Super Bowl with Doug, that worked because Tom Brady was throwing 500 yards against us, and he had to. It was punch for punch, wasn't it, the whole
Yeah.
game? And in 2020, that's what I don't understand in those Super Bowl in 2022. They were aggressive all season. They were doing the touch brush. They were going for a fourth downs, making it. And then in the Super Bowl, Nick made, I think it was like two big decisions on fourth down where he didn't go for it, and we either punted it or Jake made a field goal. And it was like, why aren't you doing it? You've had success all season, and it wasn't as if that game in the Super Bowl they were struggling to get first downs against the Chiefs or struggling to get touchdowns. They were going toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes the whole game. So you know what I mean? He was a big factor in losing that Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was other things as well, obviously, but you know, so that's where I can understand. He's choosing the wrong moments to be aggressive. And that game, that last week, like you said, you're up 16, 17. Take the points. There's no reason keep your foot on the Jags' necks. And he kept letting them off. Going for it on fourth downs. They stopped. How many times they stopped the touch push in that game? Like two or
Three.
three
I think it
occasions.
was
Yeah,
2 or 3.
yeah. Teams are figuring it out slowly of how to stop it. They knew in that game that Dallas wasn't there to be on the back end to
Jordan
push.
Mailata's not there.
Jordan Mailata wasn't there, so they knew that they were lacking in strength to get through, and they capitalized. And hats off to the Jags, they stopped it. They did what they meant to do, and Nick then is just putting more and more pressure on the defense. And thank God McCoby made that play at the end, because Trevor Lawrence was going to go down and score again and win that
Yeah.
game for the Jags. We just knew it. Like when Jake missed that field goal towards the end, and they had to give the ball back to the Jags, I went on and he's like punched the floor. I was like, damn it! I was like, I knew what was coming. I knew the ball's going back to the Jags, and they were just going to march all the way down. And I saw the Atlanta game happening again.
Yeah.
When, the missed pass on 3rd and 3, and then Atlanta went straight down, scored, and it was game over. And I saw that happening again. And thank God McCoby, made that play. Like I watched the mic'd up of Jalen and McCoby from the game, and McCoby knew, he had a feeling that that play was coming, because he'd been beaten on it in training camp by Saquon and stuff. He just had a feeling, and I can totally see now why Fangio picked him as the Mike linebacker, over what was the linebacker they just released from the Bucks?
Devin White.
Devin White, yeah, Devin White,
Yeah.
that was it. He won the job. The Kobe won the job in training camp, and you can sort of see, because I was watching that Mike up, and he's such a leader on the defense. He just kept the guys going, and then like when the Jags were going to be marching down the field, he said, "It's on us now. We've got to stop it. We've got to stop them. Let's keep going. Let's keep going." And then he went off to the side, and he spoke with one of the assistant coaches, and they sort of knew that Trevor was going to try something with the running back, and he was spot on. He read it perfectly, and he made the play. Just amazing.
Well, like going back to Jacoby, man, he really has, like, he's progressed so much this year. He's gotten so much better at times, like with with his coverage. Like we didn't think he'd be a good cover linebacker, and
Yeah.
he's gotten so much better at that. And it goes back to something I brought up with Nolan Smith, because last year Nolan basically went through two defensive coordinators in his rookie
Mm.
year alone, and now he's on his third. N'Kobe's on his fourth. Now, granted, N'Kobe's had a lot of injuries that hampered him
Yeah.
and slowed him down and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When he came out, I was hoping we'd get him in the first or second round. I was that high on him. And then we wound up getting him in the third, and our buddy James Seltzer, me and him were ecstatic. You know, we were big N'Kobe Dean
Yeah. I
guys.
remember that.
And
Yeah.
and then
He's
it's like,
landed.
you know, did we just get really a special teams guy in the third round? Is that what we used? But man, I think having Fangio, he's the creator of this. You know, he had Gannon as a rookie who is a Fangio disciple, and then he had Desai for ever how many games last year, and then it went to the Patricia thing, which was a disaster in the
Oh
middle
God.
of the year. And it was, I think, having a solid defensive coordinator, a really good teacher, and somebody that believes in you really long way. And hopefully that's what's happened with N'Kobe. Because man, he and Zach Bond, this is the best linebacker play we've seen since the Super Bowl year when we had Bradham and Hicks, and then when Hicks went down, Kendricks stepped up. And it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Bradham and Kendrick who played so well. But
Even in
yeah,
2022, we had, decent linebacker, TJ
yeah.
Edwards. He still,
TJ Edwards. I was sad when we let him go, but that's,
yeah,
I mean, I
this
really
is
thought
why,
we would. Yeah, I really thought we would sign him because he was one of our guys too. You know,
yeah,
it wasn't like he was a free agent mercenary. You know, he'd been here as I think he was an undrafted rookie. You know, they
yeah, he
signed
was.
him as an
Yeah,
undrafted rookie out of
yeah,
Wisconsin, and I was sad to see him go. But also they said, you know, where he's from that area in Chicago. But anyway, that's not what
yeah.
we're here to talk about.
This is what I'm hoping doesn't happen with Zach Paul now. I'm hoping how he has the foresight to realize, they got something in the linebacker core now.
Yeah.
They don't have to spend a lot of money. You've still got Kobe on his rookie deal. Um, you know, sign Zach Bone to an extension. It doesn't have to be mega money. You give him another year extension, something like that. They gotta keep this continuity going.
Well, something I'm pretty sure, don't hold me to it, but I think it was Brian Baldinger they were talking to this week about Zach Bond, and they brought up like what you said, get him signed to an extension now, and you could probably get it done at a reasonable rate and everything.
Yeah,
And Baldy said, like I said, I'm about 99% sure it was Baldy that said it on the afternoon show. But he said, yeah, man, this is something that Howie will do. He got this kid on the cheap. He proved that he's played his ass off. He's done really well. He leads the team in tackles by a mile. You know, he's had two games with 10 plus, sorry, the first game was 15 tackles. He's had two or
yeah,
three, 10 plus tackle games here in the last few weeks. So Baldy
yeah.
even thinks it's a no brainer to get an extension done with Bond,
I was
so
looking earlier on, and I think he had 10 tackles against the Jags as well. It's like
yeah.
this guy is just like amazing every week. So yeah, so let's like sort of speaking of like free agents, how you sign. So what do you think are like the trade deadline moves and things that we made? Do you think we've sort of like missed the ball? Do you think how he was done the right thing, like holding the line?
I don't know what the asking price was or what they were maybe even looking at. There was a lot of rumors that Max
Mm,
Crosby, but you had Raiders ownership saying he's not going to be available. You had people
yeah,
saying Myles Garrett, and that would have cost you a ton to get Myles Garrett, I believe. I think it could have cost you two firsts and maybe even like a second or something like that because that's the reigning defensive player of the year. Uh,
yeah,
so maybe there wasn't something out there, and also the fact that they traded and got Jahan Dotson, and it's not been a great trade for him thus far. He's not done anything that great. Granted, he had that great catch in this Jags game,
yeah,
that juggling
yeah.
great catch. But when you look at what other teams have given for more proven receivers, like the Bills basically gave up the same thing for Amari Cooper.
Mm,
And the thing about it is, we're a run first team. We are. I mean, and
yeah, that
and
seems to be
a
what we
third
were doing.
receiver right now isn't going to get a lot of targets. And Grant Calcaterra's really stepped up with
Mm,
Dallas's injury.
Yeah.
Fred Johnson's really stepped up with Mailata's
Yeah.
injury, and then we've seen Tyler Steen step up when Becton's gotten hurt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was hoping for an edge rusher of some sort, and yesterday, I don't know if you've seen it, but oh my goodness, somebody got Yannick Ngakoue as a free agent. I would have kicked the tires on him. I know he's a little older, but it was a free agent deal. You wouldn't have had to give him anything up.
Yeah.
I forgot who snatched him up, but anyway, I'm fine with it because yeah, we've got I think 7 draft picks in this upcoming draft, and if there wasn't anything out there that you thought could improve the team, or it was going to cost you like multiple firsts, I would have given 2 first rounders for Myles Garrett. I would. I would have given next year's and the next. Myles Garrett
Yeah,
is that
that's the
dang
thing.
good.
I don't think how we would have wanted to give something up like that with you know what I mean? Like I
Exactly.
said earlier on, you'd have to get everything plus the kitchen sink to
Yep.
try and get guys like that. And how he's a smart guy. He's not going to make a decision like that. And like you said, we got these picks out of the draft, and you can sort of trust Howie at the moment with his drafts. He's
Yeah.
like I said last week, he's since that 2022 draft, he's stepped up his game big time on both sides of the ball.
Look at this
So
draft. I mean,
yeah,
the first 2 picks, home run. We
yeah,
talked about this last week. The first 2 picks, he has hit 500-foot moonshots with
oh
Cooper
yeah,
DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. And I mean, yeah, if he can draft that consistently, and like we said last week as well, Nolan Smith was a rookie last year. He was a first round pick. Maybe he should have been a second, but he was the 30th pick in the first round. So you're kind of splitting hairs. But Nolan has shown life these last few weeks. I think he had 3 games in a row with a sack. He didn't
mm,
get one last week, but yeah, I'm like you. I don't think Howie would have given up 2 first round picks. I personally would have for Myles Garrett, but then again, it
yeah,
ain't my
yeah,
team, so
yeah.
and it ain't Madden either. So
No, that's it. I think I've tried myself on Madden to try and get Miles Garrett, and it's impossible. You try to give everything on there, and they just will not give you the guys. So if it won't work
yeah,
on Madden, it's would be tough. But yeah, speaking of Quinion and Cooper, I pulled up Quinion Mitchell's stats of like reception yards he's given up basically from week 1 to week 8. So, and he's gone up against some top receivers. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Every week he's gone up against, either, number 1s or number 2 receivers, and he's a rookie as well. So, week 1, he gave up 1 reception, 6 yards. Week 2, that was was that the Saints week 2? No, Falcons was week 2.
That was the
He gave
Falcons
up,
game.
yeah, he gave up 1 reception, 5 yards. Week 3, that was the Saints game, I think. 2 receptions, 23 yards. Week 4, 2 receptions, 19 yards. Week 6, 1 reception. Week 7, 1 reception. And then last week, he only gave up 2 receptions, all under 20 yards. I mean, it's just insane. Like, the guy's going up against top caliber wide receivers every week. And he's just got so much dog and fight in him and a
Yeah,
skill and ability. Yeah. And obviously, he's put a lot of work into his preparation. You see him, you see clips of, when all the reporters are at training camp and, you see like Darius Slay working with him off to the side, giving him a bit of mentorship, giving him tips. That's one thing I suppose I will say about Darius Slay is that he is mentoring the younger
he
guys a bit
he
because
has
he
been a
knows,
good mentor to those guys.
yeah,
He really has.
he knows his days are numbered and he keeps getting banged up every week. And, when he is there, he makes 1 or 2 nice plays, where he'll stop a good pass being completed and stuff. But, unfortunately, Father Time is starting to catch up with him now. And I think he knows that. And so I'm just one thing I'm glad about with Darius is that too, is that he's willing to, help bring these guys up and, get them ready to step into his shoes. So,
Well,
with that,
real quick,
yeah,
when they had Reed Blankenship on the afternoon show, he
yeah,
said as much himself. He said, ever since he's came to the team, Darius has told him, hey guys, my number's the same. It ain't changed. You
yeah,
need
that's right.
anything, you
Yeah,
call me. I'm here to help you guys. And I will commend him for that. I have been hard on his play and performance and stuff like that in the past, but when you step up and you are a leader, like that. And there's been things that we've not agreed with that he's done off the field, like going on the Micah Parsons
Oh yeah,
podcast and
you've got to stop doing that.
ridiculing CJ, GJ, and stuff like that. Not a fan of that. But yeah,
No,
when he is taking those guys aside and working with them and talking to them and building them up and giving them confidence, yeah, you can't beat that. That's
no.
huge, and that's stuff that we don't see and hear about a whole lot. So I will commend him for that because, like I said, Reed was talking about that very thing yesterday. What a good leader he is in that secondary room.
Yeah, yeah. They've been the secondary this year has just been phenomenal. Like you said,
It's been crazy, dude. Our defense keeps getting better as the weeks go on.
yeah. That's the thing. I mean, this week now is with Dallas, it's going to be a big step up for Cooper, and Quinion because they both at times going to have to go against CD Lamb.
Well,
You
CD's
know,
questionable. He's got that
yeah,
shoulder
he is.
thing.
Yeah,
So
but I think he's a tough guy, and I think he will. I'd be shocked if he doesn't play, but I think he will play because otherwise, I mean, I don't know what Dallas are going to rely on.
they don't have
It's
much.
it's going to be tough for them otherwise. So, but we've been put in that position, and no one's felt sorry for us. You know what I mean? When teams,
Yeah.
when we went to Tampa, we had Dallas and Saquon, but we didn't have AJ. Yeah, we had Devontae. Did we have
No,
Devontae?
Devontae
No,
was
he was out
out.
with a
AJ was
concussion,
out.
wasn't
Lane Johnson was
he?
out.
Yeah, yeah, and so nobody felt sorry for us. Everyone expected Jalen to be, 500 in that game and be a superstar, and so we didn't get any sympathy. So I won't give sympathy to Dallas anyway. You know what I mean? But
No, Dallas
they
sucks.
don't. Yeah, they suck. So yeah. So before we move on to Dallas, let's have a look at, what you think of Jalen the last 3 weeks. He's steadily improved. I know obviously, the Bengals was a massive win, but some people out there think it wasn't such a big win because, they didn't have T. Higgins and this, but they still a good team. I mean, they went toe to toe with Baltimore the other
They
night,
didn't have T. Higgins this week either, did they?
no, and
Yeah.
I think Zach Taylor on that when they went for that, why he had them go for that 2 point try. I know they would have had to give the. I know if they settled for the kick and they would have had to give the ball back to the man. There was like 30 seconds left of the game, but I think the defense might have held up and it would have gone to overtime. So why that's two bad decisions he's made. He made that fourth down one decision against us, which Cooper DeJean blew up against Jamar Chase, and then that one last week, that the other night, I was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You're in a tough spot. Or maybe he was desperate. I don't know, but you've got to think. Yeah, what I mean. I know we are worried about next to the guy, but I'd be worried about Zach Taylor with those type of decisions as well. But yeah, so how do you think Jalen's doing in these last few weeks now? Because he's improving every week. I think I got some like since the bye week. He's got 12 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, a 127.5 passer rating, and he's 20 out of 29 pass attempts when he's throwing 10 plus yards. So,
Yeah.
how do you think Jalen's ticking along? And obviously with
It,
the schedule coming up.
it goes back to what we said a few weeks ago when you and me first started talking before we started this podcast, man. The
Hmm.
thing with Jalen, you have to cut down on the turnovers. And that's what he's done. And
Yeah.
like, I hate to sound like a broken record, but also last week we talked about the lack of playing in preseason. It was a new offense, new terminology, new plays, and everything else. And like if you look, man, everything's kind of started clicking after the bye. And we've heard some people say, like during the bye, some guys went home, wherever home is for them, stuff like that, to see family.
Hmm.
Jalen stayed in Philadelphia. He was at the facility every day, according to what we heard. He was looking
Yeah.
at film, trying to get better and improving, and that's all you can ask for. Put in the work, give us the effort, and we're not going to, I mean, yeah, if you keep turning it over, we're going to rip you. But I mean, he's put
Yeah.
in the work, he's put in the effort, and it's showing. And that's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have to be throwing 400 yards, 4 touchdowns every game. He doesn't
No.
because we
No.
have Saquon now.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is something that we want to touch on a little later, but are we relying on Saquon too much? But
Mm.
yeah, I think eventually it's going to come down to where teams are really going to start keying in on the run game a little more, and Jalen's going to really have to step up and show what he can do. And I think he
Yeah,
will.
yeah,
Like I said, it seems like he's seeing the field better and he's moving better right now. It seems
yeah,
like when he takes off, there's a little more speed there
yeah.
than there.
Oh, he's
It,
much
it was
faster this season on the
it,
run.
it was
Yeah,
more hesitant when he would take off and more doubtful when
yeah,
he ran, but now it's just like boom, I'm going. And he takes off and
yeah.
he's not Lamar Jackson speed wise, but he ain't Kirk Cousins either. He's mobile, he's
No.
agile, he's athletic,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah,
when you can use that athletic ability, man, do it.
yeah. So, what do you think of, I guess Nick, he made a bit of a blunder in his in that press conference. Do you think he made a mis Do you think it was a mess up by him, or do you think he was just thinking of something else and he got his words and he was talking about something else, or do you think there is a bit of an ankle issue with because clips I've seen from yesterday's practice, he seems to be moving okay, and from like Elliot said, he's moving fine. Howard Eskin said he looks
Yeah.
fine, no problems. So what do you think there's more to that story, or do you think it was just Nick just wasn't he got distracted in the moment or something? I don't know.
I honestly have no idea what goes through Nick's head.
It's a
With
strange one.
with Nick, the thing that he needs to start doing in his pressers is think less is more. Because you listen to those pressers on the radio show, man, and he goes on and
And
on
on and
and
on.
on and on, and you just dig yourself a hole when you do that, and you can
Yeah,
you can wind up like I seen something last night on Twitter like since the Eagles didn't have Jalen on the injury report, now this has come up, the league could fine him because, if he has been treated for injury and stuff, if he was sitting
yeah,
out for a rest day, okay, whatever. But I heard Ike say, never really heard of a quarterback having a rest day on a Wednesday.
yeah. It's
But
strange.
if it
Look,
is an injury, I mean, I don't know. It's a mess.
look what happened with the Sixers now. Now, they tried to hide stuff with Embiid, and they ended
Yeah.
up getting a fine, didn't they? And then it's all kicked off from there. So yeah, let's touch on then. Like we were saying about Saquon then. You know, we've seen what happened to like Christian McCaffrey after last season. He's only now. I think only this week now he's going to start a game.
He's back this week.
Yeah, and obviously the 49ers had to rely on him a lot last year. He's a massive weapon. He is, and they used him. They got as much out of him. They ran him until he couldn't run no more. All the way to the Super Bowl, and so with Saquon's, and they've got similar histories, and they've got similar injury histories, they've got similar stats. They both, I'm looking for you, in the first 8 games, they both got over 150 touches, over 1,000 yards scrimmage yards. Uh, Christian McCaffrey had 13 touchdowns, Saquon's got 8. So there's a lot of comparison between the two of them. So, like obviously it's been talked about a lot all week, and you know, like we both said we like Kenny Gainwell, and he gets the yards that he needs to get when they need to use him, and he's good out of the backfield catching the ball, and he's tougher than he looks,
Yeah.
but it's a bit, it's a massive hole between him and Saquon,
Oh yeah.
so what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do going forward? Do you think we should just keep doing what they're doing? Because what I like at the moment with the offense is such a good balanced offense. You know what I mean? They run the ball, then they're passing it. They're running the part. I mean, they're using all aspects, they're using all the weapons, and it's working. So yeah, it's a tough one. It's
It,
what to do because of Sparky's injury history. We're going to really need him in January if we've got to go up against
yes.
the Lions and the Packers, and
It's a fine line. They're going to have to walk here with him. Going back to what Baldy said this week on the radio, you look at the touches that McCaffrey had last year, and then he came into this season with 2 strained Achilles. Each Achilles he
oh
had
yeah,
issues with strains. And like he said, when you look at the touches that a running back gets when they get over 400 touches, not carries, just touches, in the season, he said the next year it's like they fall off a cliff. They take that much of a beating when they do it. And going back to the trade deadline, that's one thing that's bad on me. I wish I'd have brought that up. I wish they would have maybe looked at getting another running back. We, like you said, we both like Kenny Gainwell a lot, but there's a big difference between Kenny Gainwell and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Now, granted, with all these carries that Saquon's getting, if you're giving him 25, let's say give him 19 to 20 and split others up, those other 5 or 6 up between Kenny Gainwell and Shipley.
Yeah, I think
Because
they're gonna have to
we're,
start doing that going forward. We're in we're at the halfway point of the season now, and yeah, I guess if they do keep if they keep he had how many yards did he had 159 rushing yards
yeah,
last week, you know, so that's a lot to get a guy, and there's no way as special as Saquon is, then obviously we've seen how special he was last week. That was incredible, the game he had. You know, it's gonna affect him, going down the stretch. And I don't see, yeah, God forbid, I don't even want to think about it. Like it's,
no,
yeah, I think I'd probably stop myself
yeah.
there.
Well, I mean, I, my opinion is you want to get one of the top 2 seeds in the playoffs. Right
Yeah.
now, everybody can pretty much admit Detroit's the best team in the NFC right now.
Oh yeah.
By how much of a distance, I don't know. They're blowing teams out like we should have blown Jacksonville out last week.
Yeah. They're
They don't
holding the
now.
lead as well.
Yeah, Dan Campbell, he is aggressive, like
Mm.
doing things. The only difference is it's working for him right now,
Yeah.
whereas it's
Yeah.
not working for Nick.
Yeah.
So maybe that aggressiveness bites him in the ass like it did in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah.
But still, yet right now Detroit is the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Now they added the edge rusher from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Was he Smith? Was that his name? I
Yeah.
forget.
I think
But
I
anyway,
can't remember how that is.
they added him to kind of
He's
help
good.
up take up the slack with Hutchinson's injury. But
Yeah.
going back to Barkley, man, when it's cold in January and you're in the playoffs, and if you have a home game, that's what you want to lean on. You want to beat down on those teams. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is, as far as Detroit's games this year, they've only played one game outdoors. Every game has either been at home or in an opposing team's
Mm.
dome, climate
Yeah. Yeah.
controlled stadium or whatever. But
Yeah.
still, yet it was raining and everything last week, and golf still had a good game, man.
Yeah. I
It's
know.
unreal at what golf's been able to do.
Yeah. Unless they, end up having a collapse like we did last season,
Yeah,
they're going to be there, and you're going to have to have everything ticking so that you can get one over on them in the playoffs. Because otherwise, if you haven't, then that's it. So
but
yeah.
yeah,
So
go
speaking,
if you can eliminate. We're going to say carries, not touches in general, because if he catches a little swing pass and he's going up against a corner, that's not being hit as hard as running right up the middle and hitting the defensive lineman or a linebacker. But if
yeah,
you can eliminate, as far as carries, 5 to 6 a game, that could probably go a long way and give 3 to Gainwell and 3 to Shipley. Hell, give them all to
yeah,
Gainwell, whatever. But yeah, you're going to have to start eliminating some carries for him, definitely.
yeah, definitely get that balance. We've got the thing is we've got the offensive line, haven't we? You know what I mean? We've had some injuries that my is still out. Becton went down a little bit. And like you said, other guys have stepped in, and we're still creating the holes that Barkley has needed to get through, and the gaps. And so we've got the offensive line. So yeah, going down the stretch now, they've got to try and like you said, they've got to get some touches to Gainwell and Shipley, because they're good enough. I think they're good enough to pick up the yards, and they've shown that. So yeah. So, what I want to look at is Washington now on
Yeah.
Thursday. That's going to be a hell of a game. And, they seem to have, I don't know if they've had an easy schedule this year. I think it looks like they've got an easier schedule than we've had this year. So I want to compare the schedules going down the stretch now. So we, we got Dallas, then we've got them on Thursday Night Football. Then we've got two big away games to the Rams and Baltimore. We've got the Panthers and Steelers back at home. Then you've got, the rest of the division going down the stretch. You've got Washington, Dallas, and Giants to finish off. And Washington, they've got Steelers tomorrow. Then it's us on Thursday. Got the Cowboys, the Titans, the Saints, us again, the Eagles, and then they got the Falcons and the Cowboys to finish off the last few games. So looking at, how do you think Washington are going to, fare going down this stretch now? They've got some really good, easy games in there. Say the Titans and the Saints, if their struggles keep continuing, you've got to hope, the Falcons. My thing, you've got to hope the Cowboys can somehow take one away from them. Obviously us. And got to hope the Falcons I know the Falcons are NFC, but, you've got to hope the Falcons and Steelers can do something against them. But Jaden Daniels is just,
he's electric right now, man. It happens every year, it seems like, with these rookie quarterbacks. You get one of them who it just seems like everything clicks for him as a rookie. Last year it was C.J. Stroud. And Joe Burrow, like his rookie year, he started out real well, but he wound up getting a knee injury. But their schedule from here on out, like you said, Titans are trash, Saints are trash. The Cowboys do not look good at all. Dak is on the IR. They said his hamstring was like an avulsion, which means it pretty much ripped off the bone.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm hearing. Yeah. So if things go really bad for them, like it looks like it's probably going to, because everybody's pointing, well, Cooper Rush's career, he's 5-1 as a starter. Well, that was when the Cowboys had Ezekiel Elliott and a really good running game. They have nothing now.
Yeah.
They as far as
Cooper Rush, he was good when he played, but he wasn't like, a world beater, really anything to worry about. And we played him, and he had 3 interceptions against us in that game, didn't he, I think? So, and he hasn't played for a while now. He played a bit the preseason, and so he hasn't got a little time. So, we see how he fares now tomorrow. Hopefully, he'll do what we need him to do and give us some picks.
So the Thursday night game, is it in Philadelphia? Correct me. I'm sorry.
Thursday night football is against.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what kind of environment Washington's played in up to now, but coming into Philadelphia as a rookie, now granted, okay, Jaden Daniels played at LSU. He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
And playing in the SEC, man, some of those stadiums, I mean, like Neyland Stadium here in Knoxville, 102,000 people. Death Valley, where he played at home at LSU, 100,000. Alabama, over 100,000. So all those stadiums in the SEC, they're huge. So he knows what it's like to play in front of a hostile crowd. But hopefully, like, this Eagles crowd really gets to him. Hopefully we can get some pressure on him because he is dealing with a bit of a rib injury, I think, or he was when he hit that Hail Mary against Chicago.
But he was, something in that game, he was moving around like it was, like he didn't have a rib injury. I was like watching him, I was like, how is he, so mobile? He had a couple of cracked ribs and he was just like running around. And even the Hail Mary play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had to run around from left to right to left, and then he threw it. I was like, oh,
how
sorry.
How in the blue hell did he do that? Yeah. But like you said, their schedule seems much easier than ours. And if that Dak injury is what they said it is, and the Cowboys season goes down the drain, why would he come back to risk further injury?
Yeah, I
You know what
can't
I'm
see
saying? He just signed that huge contract. McCarthy's probably on his way out, so Dak could very well not play again this season if they're like if they get hammered by us and then Washington hammers them, and I don't know what Dallas' schedule is. Dak's season could be done possibly.
Yeah.
And they could maybe win 2 more games. Well, they've won 2 right now, correct? Like they're 2-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's daggone. I didn't realize how much easier Washington's schedule was than ours because, like you said, we've got Pittsburgh at home, we've got Washington at home, then we've got Baltimore on the road. So it's going to be tough to win the division, man.
We've got Thursday night football, and then we got to fly to LA. And then they got to fly back from LA to to go to Baltimore, and the I think the Rams, Baltimore, Panthers, if they can get 2 out of 3 for there, that would be really good. Obviously they got to beat the Panthers. You
Yeah,
can't
you
lose to the
have to
Panthers.
beat the Panthers.
You have to. So to take to get one out of you know we beat the Rams last year. That was a good game. The Rams nearly come back in that game. Reddick had to like close it out to the end, didn't he, with a couple of sacks on Stafford. So and the Rams are looking much better this year. So it's going to be a tough game. And Baltimore is. I'm
Baltimore's a
not look
beast.
I'm not looking forward to
No.
seeing Lamar you know. But then again, the Bengals gave them a game, the other night, and Lamar seemed to struggle in that first half of the game. There was a lot of like three and outs. It wasn't much happening until the second half. That's when they seemed to get going, and that's when it got, really down to the wire. So, I suppose there are ways of containing Lamar, and that's what's going to be tough for Vanjo is finding the right locks to,
Yeah.
he's going to have to try and put a lot of confusion out there, I think, for Lamar. You know what I mean? Like keep switching guys around, rotating, because Lamar, he can make something out of nothing. That's the thing. He's like Patrick Mahomes, and you think you've got Patrick Mahomes done, and then he just like all of a sudden he takes off running and he gets
Yeah.
that first down. So and with Lamar, he's got even more speed and elusiveness. So it's going to be tough.
Not only that, man, we got to watch it for Derrick Henry. This dude's 32 years
Oh
old
yeah,
and
I
leads
forgot about him.
leads the
Oh my God.
leads the league in rushing, dude. I mean, he's
Yeah,
he's
so
31, 32, leads the NFL in rushing right
he's
now.
back this
He,
year. Yeah,
yeah, he like one of his long runs this year. I think he topped out at 21 miles an hour. To be that
Oof.
size,
Yeah,
that age, and played, and had as many tough carries as he's had, and hit 21 miles an hour.
yeah.
My God, man, that's
You see
insane.
him,
So
you see him sometimes just like running, and you've got like 3 or 4 guys on top of him, and they just
yeah,
can't bring him down. And he's just running. He just keeps going another 5, 6 yards, and I'm like, oh. So yeah, Vic's gonna have to try and get a lot of confusion going their way, and that's gonna be a tough game for the defense. But
it
I
is. It's
believe
going to be
in I
very
believe in
tough.
them. I think I believe in this defense more than last year, especially
Yeah,
after the last few weeks. They've stepped up. They saved the game last week. You know, uh, they won, which is good. As the last year, we were a bit older on defense. So, and like, even the older guys, like BG, he's playing lights out this year, isn't he?
yeah.
He's doing what we're asking of him. So, you know, so yeah, so, you know, uh, it's Dallas week, obviously. Uh, you know, Dallas sucks, Cowboys
Dallas
suck,
sucks.
you know. So, what do we think of the match? What do we think of the matchups going in? Obviously, Dak, like you just said, Dak is gone. Let's just say Dak is gone. Uh, what do you think on offense and defense with the matchups?
Dak is gone. You're always worried about a backup quarterback, like giving the team a spark when they've looked as bad as Dallas has. But there's like we said earlier, there's a possibility C.D. Lamb's not playing. He's got shoulder injury. But Micah Parsons is coming back. And
Hmm.
they're going to line Micah Parsons up across from Fred Johnson. They are going to test Fred Johnson with Micah Parsons. Micah
Yeah.
Parsons is going to want to play his ass off against the Eagles because he wants to be an Eagle. He wants to play for
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia. So and he wants to make a statement in this game if he can. Now, granted, Micah Parsons hasn't really had great games against us, much like when you look back at Aaron Donald. All the times we played the Rams, he never recorded a sack against us because Stoutland
Yeah.
schemed him up so well with Kelsey and everything else. So I think they're gonna slide Calcaterra over to Chip some on
Yeah.
Parsons when Johnson's out there. They'll probably use Jack Stoll at times to chip him, hit him. The Dallas secondaries, I mean, they've got Diggs. They're not that great. It's just a bad team. I think Dak hit it on the head last week when he was caught on the sideline saying, "Man, we effing suck."
Yeah. I
And
know.
it's
Oh
just not a
man,
good team. Their
that's
their
just like
coach is probably on his way out. So
yeah.
we should beat this team. I know it's at Dallas. I think we're 6.5 point favorites. Like,
Hmm.
this should be a double-digit victory for us in all reality. Will it be? No, because there's just something about Dallas, going to Dallas. It
We
just, I don't
struggled
know.
down, yeah, they struggled down there, man.
Yeah,
The closest we've come was that Minshew game, year before last. Even Jalen was
yep,
hurt towards the end for the playoffs, and Gardner came in there, and that was his best game, probably.
yeah,
He went toe to toe, and I thought for a second we were gonna just get out of there with a victory, and not, it wasn't meant to be. But it's always been a struggle down in Dallas. How long is it? I think how long it's been. It's been a few years now, hasn't it? Since
Oh man,
they won down
somebody
there.
mentioned that on the radio this week. I think it was
Yeah,
Elliot. It's been several years since we won at
several
Dallas,
years.
like
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
5, 6 years maybe since we've
yeah,
won in Dallas. I can't
yeah.
remember. Also, I'm talking about the matchups. I had it wrote down. I apologize, y'all. Forgive me for this. I'm new at this. I had it wrote down, and I always lose my tag on where I put my notepad and where I write this stuff down. But Dallas is atrocious in run defense,
Yeah.
and I think Saquon's going to get those 25 carries this week. I think if
That's the
they can
thing.
give him,
Yeah, they're probably gonna just, Nick being the way Nick is at the moment with his aggressiveness, and he just sticking to what he want, what he thinks is, the best thing to do, and they probably will, run up Saquon, but hopefully, in the middle of the game, if everything is going okay, they'll start to, rotate a bit, get Gainwell in
yep.
there a bit more, bring out Shipley for some, short yard gainage and stuff. So let's just, hope, you know, yeah, I like Nick Sirianni. You know, Obviously he's not going to be the best coach ever in the NFL, and but he is. You can definitely tell that he sets that culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell this year more than ever that the team are behind him. The guys are supporting him. They really. It seems like they got his back more this year than last year. Last year you could see that tension on the sideline whenever the cameras went to the sideline. You could see it. This year, they seem to be. It's like they're trying. I don't know why the NFL is doing this. I don't know if you've noticed yourself. Every week, every game, they cut to Nick Sirianni a lot. The
Yeah.
cameras cut to him a lot, trying to catch him doing something. Lose his tempo. They want to see if he's getting worked up on the sidelines with one of the guys, and it's just not happening this year. You know what I mean? The guys are obviously behind him. You know.
I
So
think I think I'm like you. I like Sirianni. He can be overbearing at times with me. Like I said, I get his press conferences wear on me, like the long
yeah,
answers and everything like that. But I was really feeling sorry for the guy, like when he done the buzz cut and all that. I was concerned for for his mental well being. No
yeah.
joke. I was like, is he having a mental break or something like
They
that?
call it
Because it just
Brittany Arnie. They would call it.
Brittany, I was concerned. But you see the footage from the film room and stuff like that where he's talking about the perfume, sniff
Mm.
it, smell it, and all this, just don't drink it and all that.
Just don't break
Who
it. Yeah,
comes up with this? I don't know, but
yeah,
if it works for them guys, great deal. Let
yeah,
them use it, whatever it takes. I think if he would sometimes get out of his own way, and like we said, we're not
yeah,
sure if it's somebody from up high saying analytics are saying go for two here. We're not sure if
yeah.
it's Nick saying I'm going for two here, or if it's somebody who's heavily involved in the analytics department saying go for two. The chart says go for two. I wish Nick would be like, look, man, I know the chart says go for two, but 17 is 2 touchdowns and a field goal, still 3 scores. I'm taking the point here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't dislike Nick as a person, but man, those pressers wear on me, bud.
Yeah. That's what I don't get with the analytics because, like you say, we've got Jake Elliott, and
Yep.
9 times out of 10 he's going to make these kicks. So I don't get how the analytics don't see. Are they meant to be able to read that? That yeah, right, okay, we've got this kicker on the team. The kicker can make this. So the analytics should be saying to go for the. It doesn't make sense if it's telling him to go for two every time.
I think Jake is a top five paid kicker in the league.
Oh yeah,
Don't hold me to that. And then it was I'm pretty sure it was this Jags game. It was 4th and 3 from, what was it, like the 30, 28,
Yeah,
30 roughly, and we go for it. Why? Take the
I
field
know.
goal. That's one of those. That's one of those points that we left on the field. I think you and I
Yeah,
talked about it. There were
yeah.
8 or 9 points that we left on the field. If we take the field goals and the extra points, and this game is in hand, we
Yeah.
don't have to worry about it.
And they didn't even try to, run on that play. It was, they tried to make, like, it was like a pass, wasn't it, or something, and
Yeah,
Jalen ended up having to scramble around, and he tried
he
to, and he
he
just, and he managed to get it away. That could have
he
been
had
a,
AJ open. He had AJ open. It was that crosser coming, like the
yeah,
long drag coming across, and he kind of threw it behind him. That gave the defender the opportunity to get his hand in there. If he leads AJ, it's a first down, and we're not talking about it. It may even be a touchdown. But the
mm,
thing about it is, it wasn't a good throw. It's not going to be a good throw 100% of the time. All that. So take the field goal. Take it. Jake
yeah,
Elliott's going to make that field goal 99 out of 100 times. And
yeah,
then in that case, he's already been on the field. He's had a field goal attempt. So when you take him out there for the 57-yarder, maybe he's got a better chance to kick it because he's been in the game already and he's kicked in a live game situation already that day. He wasn't far off when he missed that 57-yarder. I think it went wide right, maybe by the width of the football. It may have even
yeah,
hit upright. But
yeah,
it all intertwines.
yeah. So, yeah, there we go. So, we'll see now. So, you know, um, we've got like 5 minutes left now. So let's do a little, score predictions. What do you think in this game? I mean, last week I had a bit of regret because I said it was, what did I say? It was like going to be 24-20 to the Eagles, and then it ended up getting really, really, really
Yeah.
tight. So I sort of
Yeah. I
regretted
think
that during the game. I was like, why did I say that?
I think initially I said 31-13 or 17. I can't remember.
Mm,
We need to write these
yeah,
down so we can keep up with
yeah,
or go back to the previous pod and listen.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I think it might give Dallas a bit of a spark with Cooper Rush coming out there. Like we said, you've got the backup quarterback thing. It always tends to give teams a
that's
bit of a
yeah,
spark.
that's what I'm worried about
But
a bit. Yeah,
I don't think it's enough. But we are also playing in Dallas. I don't think we cover. I don't think we win by 7 or whatever the point spread is now.
yeah,
But I do think we get a win. I think Jalen has 2 touchdown passes, one to AJ, one to Devontae. Saquon gets another rushing touchdown. And it's not. It's going to be like on the 1 yard line, and they're not going to do the tush push. They're going to turn around. They're going to hand it off to Saquon and let him bang it in from a yard out to
about
get the
time,
touchdown.
about time.
Eagles
God.
win 27-23.
Mm. I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go Eagles win, but I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be tight again. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 2017 to the Eagles. Yeah,
Oh, 3. Okay.
yeah. I think it'll be tight again. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I just think I think it will because it's purely because it's down in Dallas. Just
Yeah. It's
overall. I'm not really worried about anything else. Obviously, Cooper Rush, I don't know what he's going to look like. He could be terrible. He could, like you said, could give them a spark that they need, which then that would be a worry. But then I think just because it's down in Dallas, and yeah, it's Dallas. Dallas is these division games. They never go, as smoothly, especially the last 2 years.
yeah.
So and now this year more than ever, apart from the Giants, the Washington and that's the threat. They are the threat now, obviously, until something goes, wrong for them. So just it's been another great pod. I was really looking forward to doing this one this week because there's so much. There's probably more we can go on about, but yeah, I had a message earlier on from OG Wade. He wants to
Okay.
come on the pod with us. So I'll look in to see what OG wants to do soon, and because as he's Jalen's father, it'd be good to get him on and see how he thinks his son is getting on. So yeah, I can't wait for that down the road. So that'll be really good, and hopefully we get some other people on as well that are,
Look forward to it. Yeah.
regular callers, contributors, just fans. Let's get some fans on with us as well down the line, and that's what it's about. We're just fans that we love our Philly sports, and that's what it's about, and we're having fun, it's all fun and well, let's hope it's stage fun and it's not doesn't get too stressful. But with the Eagles and it's more stressful than it's not, I suppose, especially in the last 2 years, apart from 2022 and 2017. But, other than that, it's been stressful. But yeah, they seem to be, the birds, they're ticking along, they're getting it done, and it's a positive. So yeah, let's keep going. So I wanted to end on something. I saw online. I seen this sort of like it's like a poem. It's not really a poem, but I've seen it circulating for years when it's Dance Week, and it's basically I'll read it out to you. It's about a teacher's interaction with a kid. You might have seen it yourself. I don't know, but it's on the first day of school. A teacher tells her students that she's a Cowboys fan. She asks her students to raise their hands if they are a Cowboys fan. Everyone in the class raised their hand except one little girl. The little girl said, I'm an Eagles fan. The teacher asked, why are you an Eagles fan? Lily replied by saying, well, my mum and dad are both Eagles fans. The teacher then said, what if your mum and dad were idiots? Then what would you be? Lily smiled and said, I'd be a Cowboys fan. Dallas sucks, go Birds.
I've not seen that. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I
I've liked
agree.
that for a couple of years, so I thought it was quite funny. So I wanted to read it out today. So yeah, just it's been great, and let's hope the Birds get this done this week. Now I'm sure they will, and Dallas sucks, go Birds.
Dallas sucks. Go Birds. I love you, brother. I mean it.
Love you, mean it.
See y'all.